Hi, folks. Um, this show is called Weekly Recap. And what it is just a review. It's not necessarily things that happened in the news. It's a recap of what we're doing because I'm trying to get people accustomed to the no format that we have. We're going to be doing 2 half-hour shows a week, and then we're going to be doing a recap. And so what I'm going to do here is tell you a little bit about what we did last week. For those of you who didn't see it, it's part one of a show, and then we're going to do part two next week. Then I'm going to give you a glimpse of what we're going to do the following week because I hope to get you accustomed to coming back, subscribing, and looking forward to what we're going to be doing week after week. And we're not doing the news. We're doing analysis. There's a big difference. Let's go to that first slide and we'll break this down for you. So this is part one of a two-part series called Understanding Trump's America Agenda. Let's go to the next slide and I'll show you what I'm endeavoring to teach you. I'm trying to give you a cipher that I've used all my life that has made me immune to the lies of the global financial elite so that I haven't become brainwashed. It's the key to understanding current events through the lens of truth. And if you look over to the right-hand side, what you see is a list of 10 things. And if you're going to be a great nation like America, you have to check every one of those boxes, every single one. And every story that you hear on the news is bigger than you think it is. In one way or another, it will relate to one or more or multiple of the things you see over on the right. So let's just run through them real quick. And what I'm basically saying to you is take a snapshot of this and print it off on your computer. And as you watch the news, just look at it and ask yourself, what are the implications of what I'm watching? So basically, a great nation, to remain great, to become great and remain great, has to have geopolitical alignment. Basically, whatever is happening in the world, it has to be in alignment with it, or else it loses its power. It has to have sovereign currency, because a nation that doesn't have sovereign currency, not sovereign at all. A newsflash, there's not a sovereign nation in the whole world today, because through wars and through debt, every major nation in the world has been taken over, and its elected officials are not elected. By and large, they are found, they are groomed, they are selected, and they're put in place. But now we're in that transition period. That's why these series that I'm doing these days are so very important. We're at the point where we're making a transition through that great reset that's a once in a 2,000-year event that's coming up, that's going to free us and give us freedom. So you have to have sovereign currency. That's coming in the form of a cryptocurrency backed by gold. And then you have sovereign borders. And basically the borders are being closed, but we still have some major issues. We have to get the people who came in illegally out, and we have to change the laws to protect us going forward. And then honest elections. We're about to get a massive number of whistleblowers that are going to tell us that our elections, in fact, have been stolen. 2020 was stolen. 72 nations and all around the world have had rigged elections, and all of that is coming out, and we're going to get honest elections. And that's going to cause a tsunami of change within the entire world, because you're going to see whole governments that are going to collapse, corporations that will collapse, banks that will collapse, and we'll basically go back to the America that we were intended to be. We will once again become a republic. So look at all these things through these lenses every time you hear a newscast. You cannot be a great nation unless you have resources. So there's a saying, he who controls money controls the world. But you got to break it down a little deeper. You got to understand, where's the money come from? The money comes from God's natural resources that are converted into finished goods that are sold. At that point, they become wealth, the wealth with which you either control a nation or the wealth with which you free the people. And basically, America has lost its power to have those resources. A lot of things that we need, we have shortages on, and that's why Donald Trump has declared a national emergency on resources. And every deal that he does, whether it's a peace deal or it's a negotiation, always has the procurement of natural resources that are needed for his Build America Again program. Build America, Buy America. It depends on access to natural resources, and it depends on energy. And that's why you see that everything he's doing is also reaching out around the world, procuring energy, oil and natural gas, etc. And he's procured Depends on who you talk to, but somewhere between 12 and $17 trillion to rebuild America's manufacturing. And remember, that's the point at which raw materials converts into money to control and run a nation. So basically, you're looking at Donald Trump's Build America plan right here before you. And you need to look at all of these things every time you hear a newscast. Equitable trade agreements. For decades, we were losing money on every deal. It started with Carter. And when that started, we had a $660 billion national debt. And just the other day, it clicked over and it's $38 billion now. Global financial parity. That's more important than you can possibly think of. And most people don't even think about it. Basically, it was Eisenhower who said, is there any man, any woman, any child that doesn't understand that lack of parity between nations, that means economic parity and social parity, is the principal cause of war. So in our hemisphere, we have to get better relationships with Canada, with Mexico, with Latin America and South America, and we have to allow them to have financial parity so they can be trading partners with us and they can be our allies, not our adversaries. And finally, shared values and goals. So that's crucial right now because when people came into America, we were all originally immigrants. We all had shared goals and shared values, and all those people from all over the world assimilated into the culture of the United States because we all came for the same reason. We all came for freedom. But now the people who are coming in are not coming to be part of America. They're coming and waving the flags from their countries. They're waving the flag of the United States upside down, and they represent an army of incursion coming into our nation. So it was Stalin who said, America can't be taken from a frontal assault, but if we can assault them within and without at the same time, they may be vulnerable. So what they have been doing for at least 20 or 30 years is assaulting America from within. And what they've done is attacked our patriotism, our family and Christian values, and basically turned America into a cesspool of crime and drugs and basically absolute total division. So that's the lens that I want you to look at every newscast you see. And if you do, you'll understand the big picture. You'll be able to go from the forest and get up above that again in the canopy and see everything from 60,000 foot down. Let's go to the next slide. And you'll notice this is the same list, but with a different perspective. America First, what is it? It is basically capped by one goal: to usher in the reset and to make sure that it's not one that's controlled by demonic forces, but it ushers in the greatest revival ever seen and brings peace and prosperity to the world. And so to do that, what is Donald Trump doing? He's addressing each and every one of the things you see on here. But the number one thing he's doing is negotiating peace around the world. 6 peace agreements have been signed. We'll see what happens in the Middle East. It's tenuous right now. And, we still got Russia and Ukraine out there. But basically, Trump is bringing peace to the world so that every one of these 10 things can be addressed. And we can basically have the reset, a reset that gives us freedom and prosperity, a reset that gives us basically a spiritual awakening. So that's what we're looking towards. So I'm not talking about newscast. I'm talking about strategy, and it's very important because as we go to the next slide, you're going to see where all this is heading. Let's do that. Let's go to the next slide. So this is what we're going to be doing in 2 weeks. We're going to have gone through part 2 of that. We only got through 2 of the first of the major points last week, or this week, I should say. And next week, we'll be covering the remaining 8 because we had to do a lot of background in the first part. But this is where we're going to be heading next. Every nation, remember, a great reset that has been intentionally brought about by the global financial elite in an effort to do what? To create a one world government. So we're going to talk about history. Remember, that's what God has told me is supposed to be my platform. Every major nation in the world, you got the fall of Rome, the fall of Britain, the fall in of China, and the potential fall in of America. And we're going to analyze what's happening to every nation in the world. And we're going to look at what happened to the great nations of the past. And we're going to see, where does America fit? Is America going to follow that pattern that has been in existence for a couple of thousand years: military overreach, currency collapse, deficit spending and a debt trap, empire constriction, economic and social decline, loss of the reserve currency, and finally total collapse. I'm going to tell you something. This time, things are not going to go the way they've gone before. If I want to sum it down very simply, in the past, what's happened is you had a great nation, it was attacked, it was conquered, and basically in short order, it basically they changed places. I shouldn't say short order, because let's take Rome, for example. It took years and years and years, and the same thing with England. But now we're not going to go from one great nation taking over power from another. We're going to end up having something happen that's never happened in the past: deglobalization and de-dollarization, and we're gonna basically get parity within the world, and we're going to have several countries that share power, and America is still going to come out as the most powerful of that suite of nations. But we're not going to be the sole reserve currency. We're not going to be the sole strongest military. We are going to share power in a number of different ways, and the world is going to learn to cooperate. So I want to walk you through how the change that's happening now, the fall of nations, is not going to happen in the way it's happened before. There's some good news in this. America is going to come out on top. God is going to come out on top. We're not going to go under a global dictatorship, and we're going to have more freedom than we've ever had, and we're going to have a spiritual awakening. And as Donald Trump says, and I'll close on this, they're going to get tired, very, very, very tired of winning. That's what's coming. But I have to say this: the reason I'm doing these is because it's going to get dicey. The people who've controlled the world for all this time are not just going to roll over, but here's what's coming. A tsunami of truth is coming out, and that truth is going to open the people's eyes up, and all we have to do is stand united, not just the United States, but every nation in the world that's under suppression. If we stand, we are billions, and they are most a couple of million. We will win if we stand and say no to our slavery. So that's the good news that's coming. And you need to understand this so that you can be a participant, and also so that you won't be so afraid. It's going to be dicey coming up over the next several months. So basically, please follow me, subscribe, share these videos with your friends, because I guarantee you, I look around at what's out there, and what I'm doing is very, very different. God has groomed me for 57 years and told me that when I came out, all of a sudden, my platform would go to the roof, and it would be at a time when all eyes were on these subject matters. And that's where we're at right now. So please join me, and please stay on top of what's happening, and please become an army of patriots dedicated to making a better future for your children and their children and their children. See you next week.